nerds. You apparently want to talk about gaming and tech, which I do too. That's why you're here, right? That's this episode. So what this is it is the gaming and tech section, which was taken from the much longer episode known as the Week in Nerddom from the main channel at Generally Nerdy, or you can go check it out over on Rumble as well. But since you're here, let's, without any further ado, get into the gaming and tech news. Gaming and tech is going to be a little bit different this week because instead of doing follow-ups and corrections proper, we're just going to kind of talk about what happened last week in AI. We also have Jedi, Star Wars Jedi Survivor trailer dropped. We also have Ryan Reynolds, and that's going to be another big chunk of the gaming and tech portion. And we've got a couple other things to talk about, so let's jump into follow-ups. There is no correction to make this week, but we do have a big follow-up on AI because last week AI kind of was everywhere. Got on everyone's It got on everyone's face, neck, and chest, if you will, to quote Kevin Smith in a rather crass way. But, all right, so we got the announcement that Midjourney version 5, that actually was last weekend. Midjourney version 5 is now up. If you are a Midjourney subscriber, that is the only way to get into version 5 at the moment. You can't, if you're on your free trial, whatever it is, 20 images or whatever, you cannot access version 5. You have to be paying the monthly fee. So there's that. There's also Google announced their Bard AI, which runs on the LaMDa large language model that they've been creating for some time. Bard, I tried to get in. There is still a waiting list. So all of the outlets are saying that it was launched. I believe this is still in the beta phase. It is not 100% available just yet, but the waiting list is active and some people have already got access to it. It seems that Google is still falling behind in this. GPT-4 was also announced. We talked about that in the last episode because it actually came out kind of last week. They're slowly unlocking certain elements of it through Microsoft's Bing chat and also through ChatGPT, though ChatGPT still is running on GPT 3.5. So it's very confusing there. So the Bard situation, Bard is more likely to be inaccurate than GPT, which is hilarious to me because Google for so long has been the front runner in all of this stuff, and now Microsoft is legitimately taking it from them because they got in with OpenAI first. They were the ones that swooped in and created a relationship with OpenAI so that barred OpenAI from doing anything with Google, but Google apparently wasn't super interested in doing that anyway because they were already working on such things behind the scenes themselves. And it seems that their version of things is not as powerful. So GPT-4 now comes in the 90th percentile on like the bar exam in the States. There's a number of other things that it excels at. There's a number of things that didn't really change as far as testing the AI goes. There's actually a couple of things, I think, if I'm remembering this information correctly, where it actually degraded instead of upgraded, but only minor degrade. I think it went from like 80th percentile or 90th percentile to 80th percentile, something like that. So yeah, but the Bard chat, the Google's AI is, I don't even believe they've tested it just yet because of its beta status. Getting reports of a lot more inaccurate information that's coming back. It's not as creative as GPT-4 or ChatGPT, and just a number of other issues. I don't know. It just, last week was nuts. And there's also there's been the announcement, Microsoft is integrating because previously when these two went head to head about a month ago or so, Microsoft said that it was going to be integrating its AI elements into Microsoft 360. So their suite of like Microsoft Word and PowerPoint and so on and so forth, all of that stuff that comes with Microsoft 365 is now being integrated into AI, or the AI rather is being integrated into it. So Google also announced that it is going to be doing the same. It's going to be integrating their AI into Gmail, into Google Docs, into all of the Google Workspace apps that are available through Google Workspace. And I don't think that really is going to be Linus and on the WAN show, Linus Tech Tips on the WAN, their WAN show, their weekly live show, talked about how Microsoft has the edge here because of what is the damn program? Google Workspaces, Microsoft Office Connect, whatever, Office Chat, whatever their app is, because Slack is less integrated into most big offices than Microsoft Office and the suite there, the 365 suite that we just talked about. That kind of gives Microsoft the edge already, because the Meetings, I believe, is what they call their meeting app that is like Slack or Zoom or whatever. And so because it's integrated into Meetings, it already is going to be taking notes for you. It's going to fill you in if you're late or if you miss a meeting, so on and so forth. And it doesn't sound like Google's integration is going to have that same level of integration, that same level of interactivity. So just dropping the ball left and right, Google. So far, not a whole lot has been talked about as far as other large language models, large language AI, chatbots, and so on and so forth, aside from like the really silly ones that the really lonely people use, but we're not even gonna go anywhere near that stuff. This is going to be an ongoing thing as these integrations and as the interactivity gets rolled out into the respective apps and app suites. We'll see the usability and how fast Microsoft reacts to issues versus how fast Google reacts to issues. So far, Microsoft has reacted very, very quickly, and Google has really, really been dragging their feet. So yeah, this very well could be a very pivotal point in AI. But I think I've rambled on the AI stuff long enough. Let's get into the rest of the gaming and tech section. We're going to move now into trailers. In trailers, we got a new Star Wars Jedi Survivor trailer. I wish I had a current gen. I'm still on previous generation hardware for my gaming console. I'm working with an Xbox One. This is going to be only PC, Xbox Series, and PlayStation 5. And this, honestly, up to this trailer, I was like, yeah, all right, it looks cool. I didn't play the previous game, so like it was kind of a meh, maybe I'll try and find the other one and play that first. Now I just want to get an Xbox Series and play this one because this trailer's doing its job really well. Really like Cameron Moynihan. He's doing fantastic as Cal Kestis, and yeah, go check out the trailer. Now let's get into some regular ass news. We got another rambly piece to talk about. We're gonna kick things off with the Ryan Reynolds bit. So unless you live under a rock, which entirely possible, or you decided you wanted to pay for your YouTube experience and so you have YouTube Premium, you probably have seen a commercial very recently even from Mint Mobile. Ryan Reynolds was the owner of Mint Mobile. I believe owned a controlling share of Mint Mobile, I believe is the proper vocabulary for how that situation was. Well, Ryan Reynolds is now selling the company, or at least selling his majority stake in the company to T-Mobile, which is an interesting take. So, a lot of people have been responding to this rather negatively because the reason that they went with Mint Mobile is because they liked the pricing and they also liked the fact that it wasn't one of the major carriers. However, the network that Mint Mobile is built on is the T-Mobile network. So you are already using T-Mobile's stuff. There's a really great breakdown. I believe it actually comes from one of the Linus Media Group channels, Tech Quickie, I believe, or Short Circuit, one of the two. It is definitely worth a watch. I'll see if I can find the link and include it down in the show notes. But yeah, there is a really great breakdown explaining how things like Mint Mobile and
Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. But if you're an American, I'm sure you've seen commercials for Boost Mobile, Consumer Cellular, Google Fi, and many others.
Boost Mobile and other like-minded cell carrier, digital, whatever, how they work and how they are actually built on the networks of other carriers. So it only makes sense that once they got to a place where they were doing enough business, that T-Mobile just kind of came in and swooped them up. The biggest issue is that it was being sold as kind of the little guy sticking it to the big guy, and now the big guy owns it, and people feel betrayed by Ryan Reynolds, which is fairly understandable. It should be noted, to whatever degree this makes a little bit of difference, should be noted that Ryan Reynolds is not leaving the company. He is going to stay on. I couldn't parse out the exact title. He's going to be retaining something along the lines of creative director, consultant, something like that. He's still going to be the face of the company, effectively, is what it boils down to. It's still going to be him in the commercials. He's still going to be the one that makes, that sells you on the thing. Now, that gets a little bit sticky because when questioned in a press release talking about the purchase of Mint Mobile, T-Mobile's comments were, there are, and I'm going to quote this as closely as I can because I didn't put the direct quote in the notes, but I'm going to get as closely as I can, but it's still a paraphrase. They said something along the lines of, there are currently no plans to make any changes to Mint Mobile. It is still business as usual at the company. So currently no plans, meaning right now there are no plans, but in the future there might be. So effectively they made a non-statement saying that, well, rest assured everyone, we're not going to screw you over until we screw you over, is effectively what that comes out as, because again, it's a very non-statement statement. This is going to be something that we very much keep track of for a while. There are some numbers to get into here as well, because not only did he sell his Mint Mobile, but he also sold Aviation Gin, Ryan Reynolds did. So for the Aviation sell, he got reportedly around $600 million. The T-Mobile purchase of Mint Mobile was for $1.3 billion, with a B, billion dollars, though Reynolds does not get that entire sell money. It is estimated he's getting somewhere in the neighborhood of about $300 million. So between the two, Aviation and Mint Mobile, Ryan Reynolds is making almost $1 billion in sales. So, I mean, it makes a lot of sense for him. It's just, I don't know, it seems strangely disingenuous to make such a big deal of being the face of a thing and then getting out relatively quickly. I mean, yes, I understand that he owned Aviation for some time, but like, it's just now becoming big and he's getting out. I don't know. Same thing with Mint Mobile. It just seems really quick, if you understand what I'm going for. But that's basically the conversation we're having there. Let's move now to the quick piece for gaming and tech, and that has to do with Vice. And this one I just had to put in here just because I think that it's hilarious that tech media is starting to regret mistakes of the past. And we'll get into that in just a second. So Vice is looking to be purchased. They're putting it out there that they cannot make day-to-day things happen. They're just not getting the numbers that they once were. Apparently, a few years ago, they had a valuation of approximately $5.3 billion in worth. And the people who were running the company, that's long after Gavin McInnes had left, and the guy that he started the company with got out right about that time, so he made a fair amount of money. And then when they were, I can't remember who it was that purchased them at the time, but that's, you know, roughly what they were worth. Now they have since gone out on their own after that purchase and are now worth only $400 million. So they have lost almost a full $5 billion in value in I believe it's the last like 3 to 5 years, which is just hilarious to me. Because, so the reason, what I was saying about tech media and regretting sins of the past is that, so a few years ago, and I think this is actually still common practice, but less common than it was even 2 to 3 years ago. Pre-COVID, let's say. And then it started to kind of be shown for what it really was during COVID and since COVID. But the common practice for tech media was they would find, like you see those, I can't even think of the websites that do this anymore. I think Quora was one, and there were a number of other ones. But basically, you see those clickbaity ads that take you to a site that are like 25 incredible pictures from World War II or something. And you go to, you get suckered in whatever the clickbait line is. You get suckered into clicking it, and then you look at these pictures, and each picture loads a brand new page. That is that counts for traffic on those pages. Each individual click counts as a new uptick in their traffic counter, effectively, breaking it down as simply as possible. So then what these websites would do, because basically they were usually run by very small companies or even individuals, and they would then sell that traffic to anybody who was willing to buy it, effectively. And tech media was kind of especially younger upstart things like Vice were ones that bought a lot of this traffic so that they could artificially inflate their valuation so that when they went public, they could make a lot of money. And that's basically how that worked. But these were not actual clicks. These were purchased clicks, legally purchased, and it was not seen as an issue at the time, but still purchased traffic. When it came time to put the rubber to the road, the actual traffic wasn't there. The advertisers who were buying this, space on these pages weren't seeing the return on investment that they were sold when they saw how much traffic this site was reportedly getting. So now that seems to be coming around and biting at least Vice, but very likely others as well, but at least Vice in the ass. And so going forward, hopefully this becomes less of a practice. Again, just a real quick kind of chit chat about Vice and the issues with modern traffic purchasing and such. But yeah, that's what we have for regular ass news. So let's get into our tech suggestion this week. That's right. It's not a gaming suggestion. It is a tech suggestion. It's actually a YouTube channel because it's just something I watch constantly, and that's the Honest Trailers. It's the show on Screen Junkies. So the suggestion is Screen Junkies. Go subscribe to Screen Junkies. Not that they need me to send them traffic, but it's just good stuff. It's good quality nerdy stuff, especially if you are a cinemaphile or any sort of appreciator of the movie stuff and things. That's your suggestion. Go check it out. Once again, nerds, that was a short section that comes from a longer video on the main channel, Generally Nerdy, YouTube or Rumble. Take your pick. I'm on both. You can go find it there. You can go find all of the other news there as well, including the live episode. We do a live episode roughly once a week, every Friday evening. You can join the conversation live, or you can just leave comments here on this one or any of the other ones you find on the Clips channel. Thank you very much, nerds. We've got other news to discuss in other videos, but while we're getting out of here, don't forget that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.